Good night, guys. The critic is in the house. You're tuned in live to Progress Report with the Guyanese critic. And firstly, let me get to what I left to do yesterday. Straight into it is the 90. I have not found anybody who could explain the $95 million to me. So I could get a breakdown. Basically, I want an explanation, a breakdown. How much vehicles are being bought, how much vehicles are being repaired, them kind of thing. The $95 million. The thing is, it seems that as the government would be considered to be doing a screw up, the opposition seems to be a colossal fudge up. They fudge up in government, they just fudged up mentally. They fudge up in government, get through, and then fudging up in opposition. Now today, I don't know for what reason, everybody take off. I know, y'all got to call me and tell me the facts of what transpired today in the budget debates. Because all the Amerindian people come out and start talking, all the ministers, Amerindian people in the government side start talking about how they torn down the thing. Explain to me what's going on. I didn't follow it. But it is sad because I am picking up from what I get from the people. What's sensing from the people. Right? And everybody come out, everybody was sharing. I was like, $800 million for Amerindian development. What is wrong with the opposition? What is wrong with the opposition? We Amerindian brothers, like these people don't go in the bush. We Amerindian brothers much need this help and much need the support to develop themselves. You understand? Now this government, the opposition, when in administration, fired 2,000 Amerindians. The PPP created an atmosphere that they could get jobs and they get the money. You know, was it for fire 2,000? Like these man got problem with Amerindian people. Like the opposition got problem with Amerindian people. I don't see the same people who are people racist towards them. Like they're racist to Amerindian people. All I want to know is what is the program. So if somebody could call who was looking at the thing, call me at 622-7740 who was following today's budget debates. Explain to me what's really going on. Who would turn down? We got thing going to the Amerindian people. $800 million to help them. I would expect you to tell me, man, well here, this thing ain't look too right. How? What you going to do with this? What you going to do with that? You sure you could have come this morning? This look like it's too much and I can understand that. But Amerindian, if people in town were getting access to food and so, and get access to jobs, taking blows, you could imagine what Amerindian people are being, their communities are being decimated. How you could say you come for help people and you try to turn on with the Amerindians again? It's crazy. I don't understand what's going on. Let me call Schumann and ask what's really going on. Let me ask Schumann. It's only Schumann can explain to me. You get your indigenous brother to explain to me what's going on. Mr. Lennox Schumann, I am on my evening live progress report, and I can tell you the buzz today is opposition turning down 800 million in assistance to Amerindian communities. Now, when they say opposition, I know use opposition. Could you help me out with what is going on? You were in Parliament today? Okay, please help me out. Give me a breakdown what happened and what is your take.
I will tell you what, give me 30 seconds, let me put on a headpiece. My phone is causing some problem.
Roger that, roger that. So we have Lennox Schumann on the line, who is an opposition parliamentarian. And the government said is the opposition torn down the stage. I can't even go down. Because I go to those communities. I've been to Allen communities for the Lethem Trail. I've been to Rio. I've been to Upper Terry. And I see the plight of these Amerindian communities. You gotta go deep south and see what's going on. These people ain't got access to things like we got here. And they're taking a hard hit. Now, when you look at the outlying Amerindian communities in Region 1 and things that are being affected by COVID-19, for the amount of people, the population, compared to Region 4, they're being decimated. Them people ain't got jobs, them people ain't got nothing. Now you want to know why? And we got Lennox Schumann on the line. You ready, Lennox?
Yes.
Update me right away what happened today and where we are. Explain to me what's the problem from your position in Parliament as an opposition member.
Well, today was Minister Pauline Sukai's turn to be able to defend the budget. When we sat down in there, remember, there's only allotted so much time for each item or each ministry, if I were to put it that way. And these guys ran their time to the very end, despite the speaker warning them that their time is going to run out. And remember now, we have a whole lot of ministries to go through in the week.
When you said these guys, are you suggesting Minister Pauline Sukai?
No. The opposition.
Opposition, roger that.
Correct. They ran their time out. And Minister Sukai provided the answers where we discovered that the government, or the previous government I should say, used a lot of money tucked away and hidden away to do ministerial outreaches. So basically use the public funds.
For campaigning?
Yes. So all of those things are in there. They have a lot of uniforms and stuff that have not been distributed. So the 800 million that is there is meant to patch and deliver what was not delivered under the APNU regime. Take, for example, under the APNU AFC, well, let's just say PNC, right? Under the PNC's regime, they used up $14 million in fuel and lubricants. I don't know if they're lubricating a jet or a massive steamship or whatever. And what is budgeted for from now to the end of the year is $5 million. If you look at so basically all of these things were itemized. And when it came time, when the speaker put the question to the House, APNU wanted a vote on the floor, so recognizing, like, it's just ridiculous. I see it that they just don't support indigenous development, in my view. I say that out of the fact that during the entire 5-year tenure, the APNU AFC did not deliver a single land title to indigenous communities. And the fact that they knew fully well that if they voted this budget down, indigenous peoples would be punishing.
Lennox,
chose to do it.
Stick for me there. The PNC and their followers have always been playing and plays the race game more than anybody else. Although we have these differences and you have people making comments that you see it's racist from all sides. But you could see PNC plays the race game more than any. Do you think this adds up to racism in Parliament? How do you see it?
I really don't know. I cannot speak to their motivation. Whether it is race or the fact that they feel sort of betrayed, or if they don't think that the people voted for the PPP or whatever. Remember that a lot of the Armenians or indigenous people did not vote for APNU. So I don't know if they wanted to take revenge on the indigenous peoples in Guyana.
Well, their followers, after the election in the 5 months, they led Guyana through hell. The PNC and AFC led Guyana through hell in the 5 months. A lot of followers were saying, you see Region 9, why don't take back the thing when they take back yes, I don't get them nothing, and all these kind of things. Because they served the people, did not actually serve them well and expected something in return.
Critic, one of the big misnomers, or I'd say the misconception of where we live in Guyana is when the government comes and builds you a road, they want to feel like they have given you something.
Not me, boy.
They have not given you anything. All they have done is set your tax dollars in a manner where you could see where it's going. So what they did in Region 9, they built some roads in Region 9, which is all that I could really see. And then they expect that because they built some roads in Latam, all of Region 9 now should vote for them, regardless of how much the other people are punishing. So once again, going back to what happened today, the fact that they voted against indigenous peoples is just indicative of the approach that they would have taken over the 5 years that they were in office.
Now, was the vote unanimous with the persons who were present in Parliament?
Absolutely.
Now,
That's on the opposition side.
were in the opposition side.
My name was the first on the roll call, and I voted for the budget. Minister Priya Manikchan was not there, and so she could not vote. But in terms of the people who favored the budget were 33 people. And on the opposition side, Patterson and Rajitan abstained. Royzel, I guess I should probably call them honorables now.
No, sir.
MP Royzel Ford and MP Christopher Jones, amongst others, were absent, so they did not have a chance to vote. But the rest of them present, inclusive of Raphael Trotman, voted against.
So, you're saying...
Honorable Don Hastings,
Uh-huh.
you have Honorable Vincent Henry, Honorable Ronald Cox, and all the rest of them voted against.
Now, tell me something, Lennox. Were you the only indigenous individual in the opposition? Were there other members of indigenous descent in the opposition today in Parliament?
Yes.
And they voted against the other three, who obviously are in the PNC. They voted against development and assistance for Amerindians?
Correct.
You got some people about their brainwash, Lennox?
I can't speak for them. All I can say is that I have a duty in that house to the people that elected me. And that duty is not only to the people that voted for me, mind you, it is to all Guyanese. So anything that comes to support the people of Guyana, I will support it.
Lennox, you know that right now, I don't think Guyanese know, or the indigenous community understands the importance of you there as opposition. Do you know that if all their people came and like how Priya wasn't there and you was with opposition, that thing would have been shut down?
Quite correct.
And Amerindians would have been suffering.
That is very true.
My brother, we have come a long way. We've worked together to get here. While you stand for your people, I stand back to hold you accountable. Now we have to do whatever is necessary to ensure the indigenous Guyanese community is delivered to like every other community that has been forcing themselves on the others in the nation to get, that has been fleecing this nation, the ones who have been the most corrupt, devious, conniving, and even racist. I expect you, MP Lennox Schumann, to stand for your indigenous brothers and sisters like you promised. Because I'm here watching our brother.
Absolutely.
We talk.
Thank you.
Now we get it from the horse's mouth. Like, what is going on? You're hammering your man. You there with the PNC. Your obligation is to the people. Don't PNC MPs just who come out of government did not see what is the plight of the Amerindian people. When's the last time you go to... Do you know people are not allowed to come out of Pakuri? They have no jobs. How can you? Now, Ramjatan and Patterson abstain. They don't realize you can't get into that. How the PNC want to be seen as an opposition or want people to... Oh, buddy, oh, listen to me. Y'all even play politics, the Amerindian people, you go try to shut down Aton. You say, no, let the Amerindian people go. At least it looks, we there with the Amerindian people. You don't take your vendetta for the PPP and try to trample on your lesser brother. You got to play politics here. People, everybody was surprised and say, oh God, is what going on? PNC vote with the PPP? Is what going on here? Them Amerindians say, oh, Raspberry, you know, they're going to start thinking. You imagine these people even playing politics? Hello, good night.
Yeah, good night, my boy. So, I think Lennox is, he attempted to say something that was going to enhance what he's saying, to bring to light, but I mean, the brother might be so worried over this whole thing. So what had happened actually, I want to add to what he said, is that usually the speaker would say, now it's time for the voting of this particular item. And he would say, the speaker would say, all those who are in favor of this whatever line item or program, say aye. And all those who are not in favor of it, say no. And then they would say that, and they would somehow, the clerk of the assembly would get to see that on the mic, and they would say it is passed. But what these criminals did today, when the speaker did that, and the count was taken, and the speaker said, if the line item is now passed and it is being the estimate, the criminals say, hold it. We want a division of vote. They want the vote individually.
They want, no, here. But normally, when Charandas thing, hold on for me. When Charandas, remember Charandas vote? You voted 1-1-1.
Right.
I think that's how the vote has happened.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Well, usually what would happen in the budget, they don't do that kind of voting. They would announce and say, although who in favor say aye. And somehow they just get to know that, but these people didn't take that today. They want a division of vote. They want to call out the thing. And that was so terrible, because usually in the debate, in the budget, it don't happen like that. You know, there is a way they would do that in a more I would say principal way, but they call for a division of vote, and that in itself tells that they wanted to vote down that budget. They wanted to do that, to vote down the American.
My brother, you understand the consequences here and the danger? These people who have been playing the race game, now you see they come out as racist. There's no other explanation.
Exactly.
You understand? No,
exactly.
My problem is, you got a community that taking a beating. And it's taking a beating for since the beginning of time. So they got $800 million for them. Do not forget, all of the nation has really been built on resources. When you talk about timber, when you talk about gold, and all these things, it's from we indigenous brothers area.
And they did the same thing. They voted against the government. Hello?
Yeah, I listen to you. So, no. What I'm saying, the nation has been built on this. If you want to play politics, you would shoot down everything else. But you're not going to shoot down thing for your indigenous brother. You can say, well, no, me, man, get it. Let them banner get a thing. This banner, you know what's $800 million? The PNC thief $600 million from billing Dorman Park. The PNC bill a wood pen, a big cow pen, for billions of dollars. And a 600 million missing. 800 million is joke. 800 million is joke. Have you been to Amerindian communities? You have to get people to call and tell you the circumstances under which Amerindians live. Now you laugh. They've been living a good way coming. So I'm blaming the PNC or the PPP for the circumstances. I talking about no. A vote is there to be made to support your brother. We are building roads, highways for millions of US. We are building hospitals for millions of US. And 800 million that is going to service Amerindian communities. Enough. Have you ever driven to an Amerindian? Don't worry, Amerindian community. Don't worry, the community. I want you to drive and go to the community. I want you to drive and you ever go to St. Cuthbert's Mission? They got two ways to go. Do you know St. Cuthbert's Mission is in Region 4? St. Cuthbert Mission, the only Amerindian communities in Region 4. And you want me to tell you something? They ain't got no roads to get there. It's a trail and through the Mahaica River. You want to know how Amerindian brothers, our Amerindian brothers and sisters have been marginalized? The only Amerindian community in Region 4 is St. Cuthbert's Mission. And the only way to get there is by from the Linden Highway, driving 12 miles through trail. No back dam in Region 4 has place like that. And to go through the Mahaica River. There's no back. Imagine, let me say, it would have been in Region 4. The St. Cuthbert's Mission is supposed to be the city of Amerindian communities. And you're supposed to get beautiful road to go there. So they have no road to go there. But they are in Region 4. I am hoping we can lobby and get road for them through Lennox Schumann. So if you want to know how Amerindian brothers and sisters have been treated, go to St. Cuthbert's Mission. This is in Region 4. That comes from the Linden Highway, goes on to trail. It goes on to trail from the Linden Highway. And the Linden Highway goes away for miles to Linden. And then you go off a trail, you look like a little track. You go by them Amerindian people go down south. So one has to ask oneself, what is the PNC's modus operandi? They have destroyed this country as a government, and it seems they are going to obliterate this country and its people as an opposition. Here, I can't take too much of this tonight. I'll take 2 calls. You'll give me your opinions. Because here is simple. $800 million is being budgeted for Amerindian communities across this country. It was turned down today by an PNC-led opposition that when they were in government, they spent billions of dollars on a cow pen. 600 million of which they can't give account for onto today. Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, you know, it was disheartening to watch today in the parliament, knowing that these are people who want to be leaders and want to set an example that they're for every single Guyanese, regardless of if they supported them, regardless of their race. And to vote down on something for an upliftment of a community of people who were, you should say, the least represented in the country. Right? It's very sickening to one's stomach to look at something like that. $800 million is nothing in that budget. That's my contribution for tonight. Thanks.
Just thinking of that thing is upsetting. Hello, good night. Yes, brother.
You're right to explain. Because PNC, AP, and UAFC, them ain't help nobody for do nothing. Them ain't think they all know that unwashed hands may can come clean.
My brother,
Right.
hear what he's saying. Even if you got animosity against the PBP, me ain't got nothing wrong. They had the days and there have been long life war foes.
Yes.
Amerindian people, Bano. Amerindian people. Buddy, you gotta go and see. Do you know on the Linden Highway, people just walk for 4 or 5 miles to go and visit somebody? If I run up a step, I is blow George.
Right to me one place.
Eh?
Right to one place a friend is living there.
My brother, I say it again. One of the premier Amerindian communities in this country is St. Cuthbert's Mission. It is actually in Region 4. And there's nothing that has afforded these people that was suggested that we have brought them in to the civil. Not even roads. Let me say they want to live. So do you know, as soon as you cross over into Brazil from Letem, there are Amerindians that live the way they used to live when they were run out of Rupununi. After there was an uprising, they run out by the PNC. Here, the PNC, they're lying behind Amerindian people, you know. It seems like the PNC want to destroy Amerindian people.
Yeah.
I see nothing else to say about them. Now, when you drive over, you go to Brazil. Guyanese Amerindians would have left and gone over there, and you know, outside of their thatched roof homes, which they choose to live that way, they were afforded the opportunity to beautiful highways,
Yeah.
and electricity and pavements. They were given the infrastructure afforded to all Brazilians.
Yeah, it's true.
To hear today that there's Amerindian communities in Region 4, of which are a capital city and 2 international airports
Yeah.
are housed. There are Amerindian communities. The one Amerindian community in Region 4, you gotta take trail for go and river.
Yeah.
Then to hear an opposition who was in government that failed all the people decided to trample upon the rights of the weak and the mild.
Yeah. Jack was the right man for the country, though.
We talk, bro.
Yeah, right.
We talk. Hello, brother. Hello.
Critics carry your motors.
Okay, you guys get pissed off. Yeah. I pissed you off. Yeah, I see you cockroaches for what you are. Yeah. You see, you people are cockroaches, I must tell you. You cockroaches. The thing is, I can recognize cockroaches from a mile away. And most Guyanese don't. So when I highlight, is there your buttons get touched. Good night, my brother.
Good night, Critic, and thank you for taking the time to passionately bring up this issue that has left an indelible stain on Guyana's history since time immemorial. A few things. First of all, when I was young, I actually used to attend a school in the Rupununi area when I was young. So I do have a short immersion into understanding how indigenous peoples have been systemically oppressed since Guyana has gained its independence. I think personally that we kind of overlook the budget speech that Lennox Schumann gave that really highlighted the issue of why the PNC voted against this budget, and that is primarily his highlighting of colonialist or coloniality or settler colonialist thinking of indigenous peoples, and he highlighted it using Cathy Hughes as a beautiful example of that type of mental mindset towards indigenous peoples as being somehow the noble savage or something to that type of derogatory effect. So it is not surprising that their vote was against the budget simply because indigenous development, according to indigenous practice and under free, prior, and informed consent protocols mandated by the UN, will highlight how indigenous peoples are capable of developing their communities according to their own traditional statutes and settings. And it will also further highlight the systemic failures that have happened in other communities as well. And I think personally that the vote against this budget is not necessarily a political tactic. It is overt racism, and quite frankly should be
I ain't get you end there. I ain't get you down at the end there.
questioning of the PNC's budgets towards indigenous expenditure under the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs. We then get to see exactly why monies were not getting into small households as they should have, simply because of mismanagement, gross inept mismanagement. And I think personally your platform amongst others are the right way to highlight to Guyanese, local and overseas, of the gross thing for a long period of time.
Hold, brother, hold.
This is not one of those times when I think indigenous peoples are simply going to just let this ride. I think there are a group of people who are highly skilled who will push back like the systemic racism that is occurring within the PNC ranks in relation to this issue. Thank you for some time.
Roger, brother. Here. I have not had a more upsetting thing I come across to discuss than what I'm discussing today. So I could do with a break. I think if you want to do something, you can share this video. Tomorrow morning, look out for an interview with me on Daybreak News. Go follow like Daybreak News and follow Daybreak News because I'll be doing an interview with. Hello, good night.
Hey, Mr. Chris, good night. How are you?
Talk to me.
I know you're not okay. I just want to say thank you for talking on this issue. For years now, a lot of these Amerindian villages have not been addressed and have continued to struggle. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm listening to you.
All right. Yeah. So if a lot of persons don't know what the villages in the region go through, the struggles that we face every
My
day,
brother,
and
most Guyanese, not a lot, most Guyanese, I go there, as you know, I go across this country. I go to all the communities. My last trip to Lethem took me to Rewa and Apoteri.
right.
So,
You're right, most Guyanese, because most of our Guyanese that claim they traveled and so on, they not even go to half of our country's places. And it's sad because the Armenian people are the poorest people, and they're the reason we're all here, right? And they should be given a lot more respect. It's been for decades that there's only been 2 seats for the Armenian people, which I'm glad that now there's more. And this is not how it used to be. And I'm really glad for this platform that everyone can see what's going on and hear what's going on,
my brother, it shows that the PNC only has contempt for Amerindian people. Simple as that.
Yeah, they don't want to develop them. Like, for example, I wanted to go back to when the Humaniana was done. These people were promised so much money to rebuild the Humaniana, and they were not given their full money. But the American people are a very easygoing people, so you didn't hear about it.
What you say? Who ain't get the full? Somebody who built back the Humaniana ain't get back the full money?
Yeah, the Humaniana, a lot of persons didn't get their full money.
Who is that? Who is these people? You get those people to me, buddy, they will get their money. Once the government had agreed to pay them a certain amount of money, they will get their money. If you know anybody who did any work for government, that they and government agreed to something and they have delivered what they're supposed to, you get them to me, brother.
Alright.
I will ensure they pay their money. Roger.
Alright, thank you so much.
Here, I had enough of this shit, boy. Today, let me do the 40 minutes today. Let me do the 40 minutes. I ain't gonna take no more calls. Let me call it tonight. I can't. I don't know how do you deal with these kind of people. The PNC, the first thing they did is build Cowpen to the tune of billions of dollars. 1.6 billion. 600 million can be accounted for. They did that. Never explain nothing. Money thief, willy-nilly, Wild West. Never explain nothing. This is helping Amerindian communities. How do you explain turning down the budget? Not even playing the supporting that budget against the PPP and make everybody mouth hand drop. They want people to know. They ain't care. They contemptuous of the Amerindian people. And even their Amerindian members. I don't know who's going to support them. If I see any Amerindian, I go anyway to any community that said they're supporting the Amerindians in the opposition. Anybody other than Shumon, bye. I tell you, me and giving you no support. Me and taking me supporters money and come help you. I wouldn't take me support. If tell me, supporting them 3 Amerindian people in no opposition. Better don't let me know. Better don't let me know. Right? Take care. I tired. Peace out. Peace and love.